My name's Andrew Stotts, and today I want to go through some recent research I've done on Thai politics. What we can see about Thai politics, of course, right now is that it's a street fight. And what I wanted to do is try to look into the origins of that. And what I found from that was, of course, we can see that the Democrat Party's been fighting against Thaksin's consolidation of the rural vote. And basically, when parties in opposing or competing against Democrat parties and the Bangkok voter were small and fractured, it was easier for the Democrat Party to have control. But Thaksin managed to consolidate the rural vote, and from that managed to dominate the parliament. Now, what I want to show you is this chart. I've gone back to 1983, so 30 years of elections in Thailand. And the key thing in this chart is really all of these smaller parties. On average, there were 11 parties that were opposing the Democrat Party in elections. And of course, Thaksin consolidated that in 2001 and consolidated further in 2005. We had a military coup, we had a nullified vote in 2006 and a boycott by the Democrat Party, a military coup in 2007. And then what we can see is in the last election in 2011, Thaksin's party got a 53% seats in the House. Now, what you can see is that in the period prior to Thaksin, all of these smaller parties were, not only were they small, but they were going up and down in importance. The only one that had stability besides the Democrat Party, which is the yellow party here, is the Chhat Thai Party, which maintained until all parties went down in importance, except the Democrat Party, relative to Thaksin. And so, unfortunately, what we have is a situation where the Democrat Party really started losing their ability to control the political environment through the system. And so if we can put all those smaller parties into this yellow bar, we can see that the significance of smaller parties disappeared almost by 2005. And it was in 2005 and also 2001 that we saw elections under the 1997 Constitution, which actually had disadvantaged the smaller parties to try to prevent a lot of smaller parties from controlling the political environment. But what we can see now is there's some resurgence in smaller parties, and I would argue that right now we can see that the Democrat Party actually has been able to maintain over 30% of the seats in the House. That's the best performance they've had in a long-term context. And that tells me that the voter in Bangkok is very stable for the Democrat Party. So what I would argue is that also Thaksin's party, Pheu Thai Party, and Yingluck, the Prime Minister, have come out with policies that haven't necessarily been good. In fact, some of them may get them in a lot of trouble, like the rice pledging scheme. And I would argue that the party's vulnerable, particularly the attempt to get amnesty is another one that could make them vulnerable with their main support base. And with the smaller parties starting to come back in power, we could see that in the next election, the Democrat Party could put up quite a fight, and maybe Thaksin would get under the 53% of seats in the House. So that's putting it into the long-term context. I hope that helps.